Welcome to the Children's Book Author Podcast. I'm your host, Eleanor Page. If you write for children, or it's always been your dream to, you're in the right place. As the children's book author, I'm on a quest to discover everything there is about writing, publishing, and marketing children's books, as well as how to supercharge my creativity, skyrocket my productivity, and absolutely everything else there is to know about how to be the best, so you can be too. Join me as I interview fabulous guests and become the children's book author. Welcome back to the Children's Book Author Podcast with me, Eleanor Page. And I know it's been months since you heard from me. Here we are in October 2025. Where has the time gone? Well, life got really intense for me. I had a big death in the family. There was a lot of personal drama to navigate, and honestly, it just took a lot of time and attention. And that's the beauty of having a passive income, I must say, because not at any point did I worry about my business or my work, though I did roll around in bed a little bit thinking my poor podcast listeners are waiting for the next episode. And at the same time, I was also in the middle of creating my first ever massive online course, and it is absolutely massive, bigger than I ever envisioned it to be. The Picture Book and Middle Grade Writing Blueprint, which is now live and available. But let's go back for a moment to this current episode. This is also with Expound Publicity, and the very last episode was with Expound. And in between, I have recorded lots of other interviews, but this is the one that needs to go out right now because the timing is perfect. We're talking in this interview all about preparing for Christmas book sales. And if you want to capitalize on the biggest book selling season of the year, well, you need to start marketing now. October is when Christmas prep happens, even September, but it doesn't matter. You haven't missed the window yet. So quick update on the Picture Book and Middle Grade Writing Blueprint if you're interested. As I said, it's live. I'm releasing it module by module over the next few months. You get the first 3, almost 4 modules. I've almost finished module 4. And honestly, creating it has genuinely transformed how I think about storytelling. I cannot wait to write my next book after teaching my own material. It's weird to say, but it's so true because I cover everything in this course. It covers picture books in detail, absolute picture book mastery, illustrated chapter books, middle grade, generating groundbreaking story ideas, upping your prose with rhetorical devices, self-editing, even market research. It is comprehensive. And because you're a podcast listener, my loyal, patient podcast listener who stuck with me through this quiet period, I want to offer something special to you. You get $100 off with the code, listen carefully or look in the show notes, podcast100. And that brings it down from $297 to just $197. And the code is valid from now until Christmas Day. Now you get all the modules as they release, plus monthly group coaching sessions with me for as long as I'm alive and kicking, and pop on over to eleanorpage.com and check it out. I know you're absolutely going to love it. All right, enough about me. Let's dive back into my conversation with Ali from Expound Publicity, where she breaks down exactly how to prepare for Christmas book sales, starting right now. Welcome back to the Children's Book Author Podcast with me, your host, Elena, today, because I'm talking to the other side of the world, which I love. And today is a very special day because never in the history of this podcast has a guest come back twice. Yes, many guests asked to come back twice, but none of them have been allowed until today. So You already know this person if you've been watching the past episodes. It is Alysson, or Ali, as she loves to be called, and it's easier to say, Bourque, from Expound Publicity. Welcome back, Ali.
Thank you so much for having me again. This is so fun.
Amazing. And, I was saying before we got on air that, this, you might end up being my like regular correspondent in the world of publicity.
Yes, from across the world. That would be that would be really cool. We could talk all day long about this.
And it's also, I think, a sign of that as authors, even though I know we love to do writing and creating, we must never forget that word publicity. Because at the end of the day, if nobody knows about you or your book or your new books or your old books, then you don't get to sell any, right?
Exactly. And it's always changing. The way that you market books changes from year to year, especially with AI and paid advertisements, new social media. It's just always ever changing. So you got to stay on top of it.
What are some of the trends that you've been seeing of late? Like when I've been chatting to uh, people who work through traditional publishing, for example, they've been saying, oh my gosh, it's changing. It's becoming tougher to get things published. And, this has only been in the last, say, year. What sort of changes do you see? I mean, you mentioned a few there, but in terms of publicity, what do we need to like not ignore, because sometimes we ignore things until we see like there's so many authors that do it, and then we jump on it really late and we go, nah, that doesn't work. But we kind of came to it a bit resistant.
Yeah, and you always want to be the leader of the new marketing movement. Do y'all have that new, it's new for us here in the States, that Dubai chocolate? Have y'all been introduced to that yet?
No, I don't know
Okay,
it.
it's so popular here. So it's chocolate with this kind of wafer and this pistachio cream, and it is all of the craze. And so everything, so every cookie shop, every ice cream shop has a sort of form of Dubai chocolate. Even the Shake Shack has a shape. So the issue with that is that, the first one to have a Dubai chocolate product is the leader of the pack. And that's the one that's perceived to be in the know. So, not comparing authors to Dubai chocolate, although it's, really, really good. You have to be the one that's the front runner. And so, what I have found is that we're in this new AI generation. And so, AI is good and bad. AI is great for efficiency. So, authors should be using AI and Chat GPT to get their captions, to get some content, these tips that have to do with their books. I'm not a huge fan of doing AI graphics for your social media because I think originality is super important. But also keep your own tone, your own way that you talk, humanize it. But it's all about efficiency with AI. That's going to be here to stay. Another thing that's changed is earned media versus paid media. Back in the day, everybody really wanted to get earned media, which is, a news story will feature you for free. You might be their hometown hero. Well, now with the development and the flooded market online, different outlets and sources are looking for things to be sponsored. They're looking for ads. Even newsletters are looking for sponsors because they have to keep up and running in this expensive world we're in as well. So don't be afraid to do paid advertisements, paid media, because it will pay off sometimes if you choose the right one.
Really good distinction. And I know in the creative world, for creatives, AI is a bit of a dirty word because
Yes.
I think they feel threatened in terms of their creativity and their actual writing. But as you're saying, we can use it very purposefully in a way that helps us be efficient in our promotion. So it doesn't take away or steal our job, so to speak, but it actually makes us more prone to post and to share things because you're having somebody else help you, which is AI.
Right. Right. So I had an author who is an introvert. And so I told her, you should reach out yourself to these contacts. And she said, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to word it. And then she had all of this self doubt. So I introduced her to what I call Chad, which is Chat GPT. And I said, you just put in there what you want to say and let him start formulating it for you. And so she did. And so she had this boost of confidence to be able to approach the contacts that she already knew, and then be able to put the things that she wanted in there that were important. And you can do different things, but formalize it, you can make it witty, you can make it more professional. So it just gives you that confidence. It makes it super efficient, that you can put out a newsletter and then get back to other things like posting on social or visiting bookstores.
Yeah, amazing. So don't be frightened. Go and try it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, try it. I'm a big fan and proponent of originality, especially with art. But for just writing emails and content, you can kind of use it as a little bit of a cheat sheet.
Yeah, yeah. I personally have found that it's about kind of iterations. So like I'll think of something first, and then I'll give it to it, and I'll say, "What do you think of this?" And then it'll go, "Oh, what about adding A, B, and C?" Or you could go C, D, and E, and I go, "Hmm." And then it gives me something, and then I have a go at it again, and then I give it back, and it's not like just one and done. For me, it feels like it's about a bit like editing a book. Like it's
Right.
a bit like we go back and forth until I feel it's me. It feels like me. It sounds like me. But it just had a few things I wouldn't have thought of, or it just
Right.
makes me sound a little bit sharper because you hear what I sound like when I talk. I mean, I still sound like me when I come out the other end of a ChatGPT interaction, but just a tad edited, a bit like a book, right? And it's so
Yeah.
helpful for that. It goes a long way, but it does not take away what I thought of or where I came from or who I am or what I'm putting out. It's like I had an editor on hand who was working for me 24 hours a day, which is, I mean, imagine if I had an editor who was working for me 24 hours a day. I would
Yeah.
probably write more books in the same
Right.
way, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. You can write more books. You can get back to the things and divide and conquer and do those things that you can do. Maybe pick up the phone and call a bookstore while emailing and say, hey, I've emailed you, Chat GPT helped me, but you can get on the phone and call in your spare time now.
Yeah. And the paid to consider some things that are paid is also another really good point.
Yeah, yeah. So paid advertisement can be anything from Amazon ads. It can be sponsored newsletters. There are so many different ways where you can kind of boost your message. Earned advertisement is getting really difficult. It's such a flooded and politically charged climate that right now, sometimes it just helps to do some paid advertisements, but do your homework because there are some out there that might be a scam.
100%. So
Mhm.
we're going to talk, hopefully, because you're the
Mhm.
expert, and I'm hanging out to find out how I can begin now when this podcast goes out in, I'm going to say September. So I'm putting it out in September. How can we as authors get prepared nice and early in terms of Christmas and getting our books into the hands of buyers? Because Christmas, no matter which way you turn it, is a buying time of the year. And I think sometimes many authors overlook that and miss that giant Christmas rush because grandparents and parents are buying books at Christmas 100%.
They sure are. It's the best gift at Christmas time. So, there are some things that authors should do during Christmas and actually starting right now that they should be doing. So, right now, media is coming up with their holiday gift guides. They start that in August, September, the latest October. Right now is the time to get into those holiday gift guides. Parent magazines have really great guides for all of your target audience. You can also do satellite media tours where they have the top holiday gifts and they put it on a table and they talk about each one of those. The great thing about those is you get the video to put on your website and your socials. So it has viewership outside of just the segment itself. So, with holiday marketing, the biggest thing I'm seeing right now is collaborations. That is where people are getting the most eyes, the most viewership, and the most exposure. So, with collaborations, you can partner with so many different types of people. Lots of authors collab with other authors, and that's great. Those are great for giveaways, but I want people to start thinking outside the box. So, I have a Christmas book that's going to be releasing soon. And I collaborated with a dirty soda cart. Okay. So if you don't know what that is, it's a soda that has all of these things like whipped cream and flavors. It's not alcoholic, not with this cart, but it's got all kinds of really cool flavors to just a plain soda. So I've collaborated with this soda, and they have a special Alley Cat Christmas soda that they're now promoting. I have some freebies that people get, like bookmarks or keychains. And it's just these collaborations where they're posting about this collab, I'm posting. It's just tapping into each other's network. And that's how, and their customers are now learning something new. And I'm posting about their soda cart. And so it's just one example to think outside of the box and have a collaboration. Giveaways are great if you do a collab giveaway with other authors where you can like each other's posts, and then at the end there's a giveaway. But partnerships and collaborations are so hot right now that every author should have a partner, whether you're donating proceeds or giving away something free, even if it's just a bookmark in collaboration with another product.
How does someone go about doing that? Like that in my head, I go, oh, that sounds awesome. And then I'm like, that sounds hard. I'm not going to do that.
So I guess if you're not, you can use a PR firm, of course, which would do like a partnership outreach, but you can do this on your own. So let's say you go, I went into a boutique the other day, and there were kids on the floor playing as these women were shopping. So I talked with the boutique owner, and I said, what if we set up a little kids area with some books, like a little book nook where they can read while their moms are shopping and trying on clothes? And so she was like, that's a wonderful idea. It's really just about putting yourself out there, seeing those moments and seizing those moments and saying, how can the content of my book, because my book is not about soda, it's about Christmas and cats and they're making cookies, but you don't have, the soda doesn't have to tie into that. The overall theme is Christmas. And so it's a Christmas soda. And so just think a little more generic when it comes to your collaborations than something specific.
And just ask.
And just ask. Doesn't hurt to ask.
Wow. Yeah, wow. Like it makes me sort of think, and this sounds like a strange thing for me to say, but I mean, like exceptionally honest, is it sort of makes me go, oh yeah, my book is a product. Like it doesn't, it's like I almost don't think of my book as a product. And like if I start thinking of it as a product, then my brain says, what other products could it go with? Rather than, I wrote a book, here it is, would you like to buy it, kind of thing. So that you get kids reading, which is what, most authors sort of say, buy my book, it'll get your kid reading, buy my book, it'll get your kid reading, is kind of the constant message, rather than looking as to why someone would want to read it or how they would discover it, because it's a product. Yeah, I mean, it sounds silly, but I'm having a mind blown moment.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just about getting exposure for your product. And like you said, that hook is getting kids to read. And moms and dads and grandparents feel really good when their kids are reading. So it's a feel good moment. So that's your hook. But all in all, it's a product, and you need exposure, or that product is going to be taken off the shelves because there are so many products coming right after it.
So do you look through your book and look for themes, or how do you, like you said, your book, it's a Christmas book. So that's already helpful. But what if my book's not a Christmas book? Let's, for example, I'm just going to pick one of my books. So Evie Everyday Witch is a witch. I mean, it kind of makes sense to promote her for Halloween. But
Yeah.
how would I, although there is a Christmas book in her series now, I actually did a Christmas number 6 is a Christmas book. Would I just promote the Christmas book or could I promote the whole series? Like, what's the best sort of way to approach that?
Yeah. So if you, okay, so you're saying that your character is a witch, is that correct?
She's a
Or-
witch that goes to a normal school and she wants to be normal. So she has a purple cat that talks. She has a bat who doesn't talk but is very sweet. And she has a corn cob sidekick. I know it sounds weird. She has a corn cob called Pops, who he gets very emotional. He actually pops fresh buttered popcorn. I mean, as I'm saying that, I'm like, seriously, I should be, like doing a
Yeah.
collaboration with Hoyts.
Yes, see now. So, when you say that your character is a witch, I'm thinking, I don't know if you have this at your zoo. So we have zoos that have Boo at the Zoo and they dress up as characters and go around. So you could do a signing at Boo at the Zoo and dress up as a witch, like your character. So you would never think, okay, my book doesn't fit in at the zoo, but it does when they have Boo at the Zoo over there. And just like you said, if there's popcorn involved, there's so many different shops. Or let's say it's a basketball game and they serve popcorn. What if you collaborated with somebody? I say at the concession stand, but the brand behind it, and gave away free bookmarks with every popcorn bag, and then make the bookmark have something with the little, pop on it. So there's so many out the box things other than just collaborating with a bookstore. I have my books are about cats, and of course, I go and read to cats. They're at the shelter. There's reading time, and people say, "Why do you read to a cat? They can't hear you." But I take a picture and I show I'm reading the cats. I'm doing something good. So it's not just about the perfect alignment. You can really pull out of your book some content and make it coordinate with almost anything.
Yeah, I found that just from describing it to you. Like, noticed I was sort of talking it out loud, and then I went, "Hold on, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that earlier?" So, I mean, how many other people would have something hidden in there that they just didn't occur to them matches something else out in the world they could collaborate on?
Yeah, so my first book, the main character makes it some popcorn popsicles, and there's a recipe in the back, and you can put syrup or honey or something on it. So I collaborate with our local honey. It's called Carmichael's Honey, and so they now promote my books. I promote their honey. If you want to do the recipe, I mean, it's just totally out the box thinking. Who would have thunk you can, collaborate with a honey company?
Yeah, amazing. Now, going back to something you said earlier, which I didn't fully understand, probably because I live in Australia in a tiny little box. I'm not in the outback, but sometimes I feel like I am. And I don't not know about the chocolate thing. And you said satellite tour. Is that right? What is that? Can you describe that more? Because I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so these are really popular right now too. So satellite media tours are really guaranteed media segments. So a lifestyle influencer is going on a top news station. You may have seen these on TV where they have a table with about 4 or 5 products, and it's all based on a theme. So it might be top holiday gifts or great gifts for grads and dads. It could be anything that's, relevant that month. So the lifestyle influencer will go through each one of the products talking about it, and your website will scroll on the bottom of the screen to direct people where to buy. And it's just your book showing off on TV. So after it airs, we have segments in LA, Houston, Phoenix, um, Vegas, San Francisco, all of these top markets. They have a huge viewership, but then you get this video to share with your own community and your own social media and your website. So you're sharing it then. You're tagging these other brands that were on TV as well. So they might be sharing it again. It just has more and more legs and eyes that see it. And then the last one got picked up with Yahoo News and MSN News. And so there's so many opportunities that come with one paid sponsorship because they are paid, it's guaranteed. But I just really love doing these it's such a great bang for your buck and getting the exposure and credibility that your book deserves.
So anybody is allowed to do it, like, or do they have like a waiting list, or how does someone actually get their book in that spot? It sounds amazing, and I'm like, wow, how do you get it? And am I allowed to if I'm in Australia?
Yes, you are if you're in Australia. So I know that you have to pitch your products to these lifestyle influencers who do these segments. I work with someone who has become a close vendor of mine, and we work really well together. We've been working together for almost 5 years. So she gives me exclusivity with books, and so I'm able to pitch her books that might align with her segments. And it's great because it's the only book on the segment. So you might have other products, which is that collaboration. It's things that are out the box but have a common theme. And so, yeah. So if you're interested in being on one of those segments, let me know because I can reach out to my lifestyle influencer and get you on the books for a segment of your own.
Oh, there we go. Everyone's about to join Expound Publicity before the holidays. She's got connections, people. Do it, do it. I'm like, careful what you wish for, Ali, in case you have 300 new clients and you're like, oh my God.
That's what PR firms are for. Typically we have those connections that we've built, and it's just about doing a good job for them and for their clients because it's really important on both ends for the vendor to have everything they need and for your clients to get the results that they want.
So tell me, and perhaps I've already asked you this, but at what point in a author's career, right, if they're starting to get like really serious about this now, they've because I'm just going to say it how I found it when I joined this industry is it started off with, going to events for children's book authors and someone stands at the front, and I say this all the time, but it's exactly my experience. So it is not a lie. And all I hear is there is no money to be made in children's books. We all do this for the love. And I know that is not true because I now make money from children's books. And so at what point when someone is really serious about their career and they want to make it their career, they are starting to get income from their books, and books, we're probably only tapping 0.1% of the market and still making a lovely living. But now we could actually, target more and more people in more and more countries. At what point should an author go, maybe I need to seriously consider getting a publicity company and get really serious about this, rather than doing it all myself? And I ask that quite genuinely, not obviously because you are a publicity company, but, at what point is it the right thing to do in your experience compared to a very early author who might have amazing expectations for you to do things for them versus someone who's a bit more professional and is now truly ready to grow? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And so I think at that point, an author who has the expertise and the experience, they might need just help with branding and growing, okay, and sustaining what they have and growing, thinking outside the box, all about trying different things. So, with an author who already has a set, of books, branding is so important, and the more products you have, the more money you're going to make. You can't just go to one school visit and expect to have this return of investment of a ton of sales. But if you've got 5 books and one child buys all 5, it's a different ball game. So it's about expanding and growing and scaling. So when is the right time to get a PR firm involved? Well, I guess when you're tapped out and you feel like you can't do it yourself anymore and you're tired, or you feel that you're not able to be creative with your marketing thoughts. So that's where we would come in. I have different types of clients. I have clients who want me to just do everything for them, which I'm perfectly fine. I have clients who want to be a team and just need that to scale. And so I usually try to figure that out early on because I have first time authors, I have authors who've been doing this for 10 years. Um, and I just have to adapt to what they need. And so I think a good publicist will do that. And that's why we offer customized campaigns to fit each person's needs. So, for me, I look at it as a book as, and this might sound a little harsh, but it's an expensive business card. You want to have that book be credible, be something that people love, be, in the hands of everyone and have a good target audience. But use that book to do public speaking or grow a brand with plush toys. If you've got children's books, grow that brand, develop that IP, that intellectual property. So I had a meeting with Apple about a month ago. They were thinking about turning Alley Cat, my series, into a cartoon, which was super exciting. And so what they said was that I need to keep developing my IP, my intellectual property. And that's all about branding. It's all about awareness and keep evolving into other things, not just a book, plush toys, t-shirts, everything that a drink, a soda drink. I have a musical coming out. So that's what I'm doing. I'm scaling in a different way rather than writing more and more books. I'm expanding not to other products, other types of entertainment like musicals. So when an author feels like they can keep writing, but they're just not sure with marketing how to go forward if they have so many books under their belt, well, maybe it's time to take a look at what else you can do to grow your brand. Instead of just keep writing and pushing and not worrying about those books that you wrote 5 years ago.
Wow, that's like blown my mind. Now I'm like, hold on. I was visualizing, Pops the corn cob as a soft toy, like he would be cool. All the things. Yeah, right. Rather than, as you say, and it is, I think, an author disease that we go, anyway, that was my old series, because traditional publishing sort of trained authors that way, like that, that book was that book. It had its season of, 6 months on the shelf and now it's gone. What are you writing next? Because otherwise you won't get your next advance. So they almost like, now I'm not trad published, but I've still grown up thinking, that's the be all and end all. There's this constant thing to create new things rather than, as you say, could you have done more with the thing that you created and put your blood, sweat, and tears into? And I think there's very few people that would say they've done everything they could. I mean, probably no one. Everyone moves on. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and traditional publishers or any publisher, they're in the business of selling books. They're not in the business of selling plush toys or brands or soda or doing musicals. So an author needs to be in the business of building a brand around their characters, their goals. And so if your mission is to write books about dyslexia, well, then you need to be the expert in giving tools and resources and be doing public speaking, talking about how you can help with this, movement of helping kids with dyslexia. So, just not putting yourself in the box. You're not a publisher. Authors are not publishers. You can be essentially, because you can self-publish, and that's perfectly fine. But you have to think on a broader scope of you're running a business. You're not just writing books. And a publisher is not worried about getting you plush toys or building your brand. They're just ready for you to send in your next manuscript and make sure that you meet that advance.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard the interview with Brandon Sanderson on a podcast. I'm trying to think which podcast it was now, but he was on somebody's podcast, and it was amazing because he's a fantasy author, and he got the rights back for his book, and because he wanted to make like a leather bound version or something. Hopefully I don't completely muck up this story, but it was like he wanted to make a leather bound version and, charge like $100 or whatever. And the publisher's like, that's too hard. So he got the rights back. He made this, like what you're saying, like a different product slightly.
Mhm.
And I think he did a Kickstarter, and he said he actually, I think he made $15 million. Like,
Wow.
and when I read it, when I was listening to him, he was talking about how he's apparently only tapped 5% of the market. And I was telling my son about this, and he's like, "Oh, I've never heard of him. La la la. How big could he be? La la la." The next day, my son's talking to his best friend on Zoom or whatever it was, and in the background, he notices that his best friend's got all the Brandon Sanderson leather editions on his bookshelf, and he's like, "Hold on, what have you got in the background?" So
Full circle, huh?
full circle. And it's like, it's crazy because, he started to think in terms of what you're saying. I'm a brand. What products could I make that my customers would want? And I think sometimes we're not in touch with our customers, like maybe some authors are because they do school visits. Of course, I don't. But thinking in terms of, that consumer and what they would love to consume, and seeing that brand. See, when people say brand, they tend to think of fonts and colors and why I do what I do,
Right.
but they don't think of it. I don't know. Tell me another definition that's broader, because what I'm hearing everywhere is that AI is killing everything, but it will never kill your brand. Your brand has now got to be front and center.
Right, right. So imagine if your reader fans fell in love with your character and they want more from your character. Like let's say, everybody loves Harry Potter. So you fall in love with these characters and you want more. Well, what if they decide not to make a TV show or more books or those giant Harry Potter books now that you can collect? And they just said, well, we wrote the original books, they're staying like that, and that's it. Well, then the readers are going to be sad. They're just going to feel like I had a connection and you just kind of ripped my future from me because now there's nothing more. I mean, readers latch on to these characters and to these storylines. And so if you don't continue, they're not going to trust that they can keep opening up their heart to you. You've got to expand. You've got to give them, plush. I'm not saying go out and get plush toys, but you think of it as a brand and have other things to tap into all of the wants of a consumer. A musical. That's what we're doing, a musical in December for Alley Cat. And it started because I wrote songs that go with the books, and in Louisiana over here we do lots of line dances. So there's an alley cat shuffle, and it's just a way for people who like to dance. They have an alley cat shuffle. People who like to read, they have the alley cat books. People who like to just snuggle with their little loveys, they get the alley cat plush. So that's my target audience, and I want to hit all of their wants. And so think of how do you tap into your audience's different, almost like learning styles or love languages, essentially. So if food is your love language, well, we've got popcorn popsicles for you.
It's so good. It's so good. And actually, it's so true because, even now speaking to you twice on air and hearing Alley Cat, and now, like, I'm starting to go, oh, Alley Cat, that's a real thing. Like, I mean, that's an actual, and isn't that a funny thing for me to say? That's a real thing, because I think that's what you're talking about, your commitment to it. It's there when I tune into it, like I can see it in places in different forms, and I go, that's a real thing, right? So what was that tipping point compared to, oh, yeah, I read that book once. And you're right. Like I have a child up the street who read Evie Everyday Witch. That's my witch book. And and she said, like, what else have you got on it? What else have you got from it? What else? And I was like, that's it. The series has ended. And she was like, okay.
Disappointing.
Yeah. But I'm like, what if I'd said there's a plush toy? There's a but like, is it too much for authors to dream that their characters could be so well loved? Like, what happens if I imagine that, Evie Everyday Witch and her universe could be amazing, but I'm just wishful thinking. And then I create all these things, but no one turns up. Or see, there's my absolute dread fear that it's not as good as I thought it was. And maybe kids don't want anything else from Evie every day. Which world? I need a tissue. No, I'm only kidding.
They definitely do. So, I learned from my author visit that if a kid asks for something, I'm going to say yes because I'm a say yes person. I'm going to bring to life all of their joys because I remember being a kid and how joyful it was and fearless. And when I do author visits, one of the first ones I had, they asked if Alley Cat was real. And I was tired of saying, well, it's a character, it's not real. So I made a mascot. We have a full 6-foot mascot of Alley Cat, and the teachers dress up. And so I just say yes to all of these questions that kids, luckily, they didn't ask me anything crazy. But, is Alley Cat real? Yes, she is. Here she is. Or does Alley Cat have a lovey or a plush toy? How can I make that happen? And of course, this happened over 10 years and, because it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so I just listened to what my target audience, which is children, what they're asking for. And if they are asking for a song, I'm going to go and I'm going to write a song for them. If they want more books, I'm going to write more books. And, I just want to make them, just like we said, we just want them to be happy in reading.
Gosh, we're all going to have to go do brainstorming sessions now. Or we could ask ChatGPT.
It's true. I either ask kids or ask ChatGPT. So what does that say?
Yeah, exactly. What's really funny is when ChatGPT starts saying back, that doesn't sound like a very Eleanor thing. And I'm like, oh my God, this knows me and what I'm like better than I know myself.
And you slam the computer closed.
Oh no, it's incredible. Yeah, but just opens up all the possibilities. I still, it sounds crazy, but it's probably just me. My brain still goes, I'm a brand. What does that mean? I'm a brand. It still gets a bit clogged down. I don't know why. I think there's something almost frightening about, being a brand because, correct me if I'm wrong, a brand is also, like you said, the promises you make and keeping those promises. So, so that what they expect from you does get delivered. Otherwise, you start to deplete your own brand, don't you?
Yeah, so I think it's scary to think of it as a brand because you don't really want to think of it as a business because you're doing this because you love it, but it just can't be an expensive hobby. It's a business, and but that's okay because it still brings joy. There's businesses out there that can bring joy to others, and it's still our books cost money, so it is a product, and just building a brand is about having maybe a main character or a main theme and building on that. And you have to, as the author, have to be the expert of that character or that theme. So I have to be the expert on Alley Cat. I have to know where she lives, how old she is, because the kids are going to ask me. I need to know what she's doing next. If your theme is about social emotional learning, you need to be the expert on that. So you need to be brand expert on theme or product.
Yeah, spot on. All right, so bring me back to Christmas. I'm going to sit down now and look across all my books. And even though you've already told me, what's the first thing I'm going to do to prepare for Christmas?
You're gonna start yesterday.
Right. Number 1, start yesterday. All right. Number 2, do I need to ask ChatGPT or can I ask Ali GPT?
You can ask Ali GPT. So to prepare for Christmas right now, you should start thinking about different gift guides you can be a part of right now. So if that's researching, if you're a children's brand, research children's magazines, children's just different online sources like mom blogs, those guaranteed media segments, satellite media tours. Research, or if you don't have time, ask a publicist because they usually have the inside scoop. Start coming up with collaborations with other authors to do some kind of like 12 days of Christmas, to maybe give away a book every single day. Maybe start wrapping some of your books and do some holiday festivals where you can offer pre-wrapped books where if you wrap it because you want to sign it for them. So just wrap it, leave the top open, and that way you can take it out and put it back in after you sign it. And people love having just very easy gifts to get during the holiday season. I love to bring my books around town with the Christmas lights. If I see, so I have cats in my books. If I see like a cat light up, because sometimes they have little Christmas cats, I'll put my book next to that. Or if Santa is at the mall, I'm going to take a picture with Santa in my book. There are so many things you can do to just kind of be a part of the holiday spirit, taking these photo ops. And don't forget about Black Friday and Cyber Monday, running those promotions, do a newsletter, make sure that you run those promotions ahead of time.
And do you see there's definitely an uptake in sales from doing those things? I mean, I know that's hard to measure, but definitely your book does continue to have sales. Like it doesn't, you're not doing all these things and then you're getting zero sales and you're thinking, what am I doing all these things for? There is somewhat a correlation.
So I look at it as two different things. So one, you want to hit all the spokes of the wheel to make it go round. So you want to do some paid advertisements. You want to do content on social media. You want to do collaborations. You want to do blogs. You want to do all these things all together to make the wheel go round. So in marketing, we used to say it was the rule of seven. If you see something seven, it used to be three, then it was seven. If you see it seven times, no, right now I'm saying 15. And some people are saying, I'm saying 15.
No, the number's gone up. No.
Numbers up. and that's the good and bad of AI is that there's so much on the internet right now. It's so flooded and there's so many things that we don't know what to believe. So you have to see things way 5 times more probably than originally. Now that we have things that we don't really know whether we can believe or not. So if I see something on TV, if I see something online and it's your book and I see, okay, it's books on sale, it looks great. Well, okay, I see it once. Then I see it on Amazon. Great. So it's legit. It's an actual book. This isn't just AI making this up. Then I see it's got a lot of reviews. All right. It's credible. Then I see you on a podcast talking about it. Then I see the backstory of the book. I can relate to you and see, your passion behind the book, your goals, and I'm getting more inclined to buy this book. There's so many different things, and those 15 things can include TikTok, social media, all those things, Amazon ads, all together to make the consumer say, yes, I trust this product and this author, and I'll buy this book.
Yeah,
Sounds tough, but we're in that kind of world now where there's stores. So if I have somewhere to go, and I think that if I just say, okay, we're going to a party on Friday night, I need to find something to wear. All of a sudden on Facebook, I'm seeing all these dresses now that look like something that, I might want to wear. I'm like, how do they know? Are they hearing me? And so the problem is some of these stores are not real stores. So you become very hesitant now to purchase. And that's what's happening with our consumers.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I feel like everyone I talk to, I'm currently making an online course that I'm about to launch around the time of this podcast going out, and so a lot of my other friends and things in different industries are also making stuff and making courses, making this, and then they're like, well, like one friend was like, no one's bought it, and I said, I have this gut feeling that you're a brand, and you're legit. And you've made it from the heart and you've made something that you've been working on for 10 years, same as I have. And but everyone's like cautiously looking at everything. But if we just get through that period of time, I feel like what always happens in the world, everybody jumps on something, but then everybody, like the fakers or the people who it's not really for them, start to fall away. And the people probably coming back to what you said, who have that strong brand, start to make progress again. So we just kind of have to be brave through this very strange period of transition that we're in. That's what it feels like to me, whether it's selling your book and feeling that there's so much competition, because even authors now, I know so many of them who are AIing their books, and so they're releasing 5 books a week. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to compete with that. But then I read one of those books and I'm like, eh. So, I feel like I just want to tell myself and others to just trust that process and keep moving forward, because we will move through that. And I love that you said all those spokes of the wheel, because they show all that intention around you as a brand, not just one part. Good craft, a really well-written book, lovable characters, and then all the other bits, putting it on ads. And when I do Amazon ads, so strange, my Ingram Spark orders, nothing to do, Ingram Spark is totally separate from Amazon, those sales go up every time, even though I don't do advertising on Ingram Spark. I don't think you can. But so, yeah, it's weird the way things are connected, and it's just that constant progress.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that what you're saying too is that people really want originality. They do. And so, another tip that I give my authors is do collaborations with social media accounts that maybe have 1,500 followers to 8,000 followers, instead of trying to go after these celebrities who really, do they really love this product, or were they paid to say this? So it's important to find the collaborations, even if it's with influencers, that their audience trusts and they're organic. It's originality.
Yeah, and the strangest relationships can form. I once had a lady who asked if she could use my meditation adventures series in schools across Africa. And so, like, that's kind of cool. Now, I might not have made $1 million from that deal, but like, kids in Africa are being transformed through my meditations, and that's amazing. So, like, anything that brings your energy up and spreads the word, eventually I think comes back to you in good ways, because it is spreading your brand, even if it's not always financial.
Yes, I 100% agree with that, that what you put out there in the world comes back to you, especially if you're doing good.
So, any last words we should all, like, give me that motivational, give me that action sentence, give me that stop. Don't say yes to everything I said, Eleanor, and then not take any action. What's that last thing you want to tell authors who are listening in to this episode in preparation, not just for Christmas, but for their entire author career? No pressure, Ellie. I just, made it big.
Put me on the spot. No, no big deal. No, so just remember that marketing your book and writing these series, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And there are things that you might be good at, and there are things that you might not be good at. So those things that you're not good at, hire someone to do that, or ask for help, or research. Do what you can and have others who are experts in it help you with those things. And there are a lot of things you can do. If you can't afford a PR firm, there's things you can do yourself. Like I keep saying, collaborations, partnerships are so popular and so helpful right now. Those are things that you can reach out to a local charity and say, hey, I would like to come read. Maybe it's a Boys and Girls Club. Come read to all of these kids, and they will promote you on their social media. That's free advertisement. So, earned media is not really out there too much anymore, but there are things that you can do, like these collaborations that are organic, that'll still give you the exposure and the hype for your book. And don't give up. Keep writing and keep putting your characters out there, but think how your characters can grow for your audience, because they want more.
Oh, what a golden sticky note moment sentence to finish on. I love that. I love that. Think about how your characters can grow, because your audience wants more of them. Oh, this interview has changed my whole perspective. It really, really has. You probably did the same thing the last time I spoke to you, But like all things, I probably need to speak to you not 7, but now 15 times before everything you say starts to sink in.
Yes, so we're going to do this 15 times.
All right, tick. This is number 2, people. And, like I often say, it's wonderful to listen to podcasts, but maybe write down at least 1 or 3 things that you can take action and actually do from this podcast, not just, oh, so great, and now I'm not going to do anything with it. So go do something because, Christmas is coming. There's an audience out there waiting to buy, and they just need to discover you. So thank you so much for coming back on the show again, Ellie. It's been awesome.
I will come back on the show anytime. I've had such a good time.
You're my regular publicity correspondent, and so it is.
I'll take that title.
Fantastic. Thank you again. And everybody have fun promoting and spreading the word and coming up with products. I'm off to design my corn cob now, so must rush.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
Did you find that interview valuable? Great! Now be an awesome human and go and leave a review because it helps the podcast out so much. Want to read the show notes? Check out thechildren'sbookauthorpodcast.com. Want to find out more about me, Eleanor Page? Find me at eleanorpage.com or come and say hello on social at Eleanor Page Books. Until next time, keep writing and keep learning.